10 habits to finally get lean. Number 1, drinking more water. This is going to be a very unsexy list of things that are very basic in nature, but once you accumulate these things together, it's actually going to make that difference and compound over time. And this is how I went about getting lean myself. So the first one that might not seem significant in isolation is drinking more water, because the more you are drinking water, the better your training performance. You are essentially going to keep yourself full between meals. The second one is sleep. Now, why is sleep so important? It's for a number of reasons, because if you are undersleeping, you're going to find it really hard to stick to the diet, and your cravings are going to be a lot higher, right? So when I was not taking care of my sleep back in the day, going out too much, having too many drinks midweek, not taking care of my sleep, it was no wonder that I was reaching for takeout food, eating unhealthily, and this just makes you feel pretty rubbish, to be honest. So taking care of your sleep, being the boring guy that gets off his phone in the evening and goes to bed on time each night, it's not very exciting advice, but it is actually going to make a massive difference in the long term. So believe it or not, at one point I had not discovered a step count and the importance of a daily walk, and this habit can make a huge difference in terms of the number of calories you're burning per day, but also improve mood and your sleep at night. So getting daylight, going for a walk first thing in the morning is going to set yourself up for the day, burn more calories, and because it aligns our internal body clock, which is our circadian rhythm of getting daylight, light exposure in the morning, and then in the evening winding down, dimming the lights and preparing ourselves for sleep. Sound like Andrew Huberman right now, but this is all genuinely really helpful. The fourth thing is protein-based meals. Now, why is this important? It's because essentially you want to be full from your meals to therefore get your calories down into a calorie deficit. So in order to get lean and lose body fat, we need to get our calories in a deficit, start moving more, burning more calories, and then lowering the amount of food we're eating, and therefore creating a calorie deficit. So if you're having protein-based meals and eating plenty of fruit and veg and fiber, you are going to therefore naturally lower the number of calories you're consuming, because you're going to be so full from your meals. And that, combined with the first point, which was drinking more water, means you're probably going to be snacking a little bit less than you were before, which in turn will probably bring your calories down. I was trying to find a beer in the house for this next point, but I actually couldn't find any, so I've just got an empty pint glass. But the fifth thing is lowering your alcohol consumption. Now, I'm not going to bore you to death and say you should never drink, never have a good time, never go on a night out, never ever have a laugh with your friends. Just be a hermit, stay in a cave and never go out. But I will say that in my experience, lowering my alcohol consumption and generally just having a few more nights in and saving alcohol for big occasions, so things like birthdays, anniversaries, big get-togethers with friends, and just reducing the amount that you drink either on your own or at home, maybe having a rule where you don't drink midweek, or you just don't buy alcohol and stock the house with that. That makes a huge difference in terms of mental well-being. You're going to be stressed a lot less if you're drinking less regularly, because alcohol increases our cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone essentially. So your baseline stress levels will come up a lot if you're drinking regularly. The other thing is it has a knock-on effect on our sleep. So if you are regularly drinking alcohol, more than 1 or 2 drinks, you are going to find your sleep is massively interrupted. Again, cravings then shoot up. It's just a bit of a negative spiral. So reducing my alcohol intake has made a massive difference. Also reduces the number of calories that you are consuming. Right, you're not going to like the next one. It's tracking calories or having some form of accountability on the diet. So this may be you like trying to push me away when I tell you that you have to do this, but tracking calories, or at least keeping a food diary and using something like the plate portion rule. So if you look at a plate, half fruit and veg, quarter protein, quarter protein, did I just say protein twice? Quarter protein, quarter carbs, and half fruit and veg. Once you do this and you look at your plate and maybe keep a food diary of what you're eating, you are keeping yourself accountable or getting a coach to keep you accountable. And I will use this tip with my clients to make sure that they are staying accountable to the diet, because it's very easy to say you're going to do something, but putting it into practice is a lot harder. So you need to find a way of keeping yourself accountable or asking for someone to keep you accountable to the diet side of things. If you are tracking relatively accurately, I'm not concerned if you miss spinach or some salad leaves because there's no calories in this, but I would be more concerned if you're tracking calories and forgetting things like, you know, coffees that you buy out, alcohol, because all of this counts as well. Number 7 is weighing yourself regularly and then adjusting accordingly. So if you're weighing yourself daily and then looking at a weekly average, and you can see if the average is coming down over time, this is going to give you a better indication of whether your calories are actually in a deficit. Because if you do random weigh-ins at different times of day, sometimes people will weigh themselves on a Monday morning when they've not had any food, they've not had any liquids, and then they weigh themselves again on a Thursday afternoon after they've had 2 huge meals and, you know, 3 litres of water, and then wonder why you weigh completely different and you think you've gained 2 kilos when you haven't. So if you're not in 1,000 calorie surplus, you're not eating 1,000 calories above your maintenance calories for like a week straight, you probably haven't gained a kilo of fat or body fat. And that's the way to kind of remember in the back of your mind. If you step on the scale and it looks like it's ballooned up and shot up, it's probably just temporary water weight. Maybe you've had a bit of alcohol at the weekend, maybe you've eaten out a bit more than normal. All of these things can lead to water retention. So based on those scale weight readings, you do not want to be too reactive and then drop your calories drastically. It's important to make minor adjustments to your calories when you are looking at lowering them. This is the part of the video where I bring my laptop into screen and make it look like I'm really busy and important and really busy with my work. Now, the 9th thing you got to think about is patience. Patience is required to finally get lean. Realistically, if you've been trying to get lean for a while, you've got a lot of body fat to lose, or you are just being impatient, trying to rush the process, and maybe previously you've done over restrictive dieting, going way too low on your calories, you know that you cannot sustain that long term. So this is about creating long-term sustainable fat loss that you can actually, you know, keep off, body fat that you can keep off in the long term. And so being patient and allowing it to, you know, take time over a number of weeks and months, and accepting that is going to leave you less frustrated with the rate of progress that you're making. So take those progress pictures and keep at it, but don't expect dramatic changes in shape in the first 2 weeks. The 10th habit, which is going to make a massive difference, is showing up when you don't want to. Because realistically, if you're trying to create a new habit with things like going to the gym, are you going to be bouncing out of bed excited for the gym, you know, really excited for it, for, you know, when it's dark outside, when it's cold? You're probably not going to want to get out of bed for the gym before work in the morning. However, you've got to stick with the habit, and it's going to be hardest at the start. So just recognizing that and then getting yourself to a position where it's almost like autopilot, where you just do it, you just get it done. In the moment, you may start to talk yourself out of it or try and convince yourself that that's not what you need to be doing. So to finally get lean, you're going to need to improve your diet and reduce the overall calorie intake that you're consuming, as well as increasing your activity levels to create that calorie deficit. I hope you found these tips useful. If you did, drop the video a like, subscribe to the channel for more simple fat loss and muscle building tips, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.